Results are so far?
No, yeah, outstanding, amazing. I didn't think I'd have got this far with the treatment, but it just shocked me a lot every single time.
We want to express our thanks to Suzanne and Peter Williams of DMK UK for all their participation in our show. We also want to wish Will very good luck, because the young man, now because of his journey and his success with his own skin, wants to be a doctor. And he's actually going to be apprenticing in skin revision. In addition to being an apprentice, Will is also going to be the star poster boy for a big, huge United Kingdom Teen Acne Summit that we're going to be holding in 2013. We'll keep you posted. I'm going to take you all backstage to a professional conference held this last year in Australia. The audience was paramedicals, doctors, advanced therapists, and skin revisionists. This conference offered many, many new approaches to acne treatments and things that most people never heard of or even thought about. So let's go to Australia.
Our people around the world have been curing, and I will use the cure word, acne for many, many decades, because we teach the understanding of how acne starts, what it really is. And when you come from that point of view, you have a much better protocol. So this range is not a cure-all, but it is mysterious. It is very simple, it is fundamental. I don't want you all running around making huge claims. The word claims is where everybody starts staring at you and saying, that might be a drug, you're making claims. No, we're making no claims. This is prosthetic against acne and acne breakouts. It will stop acne breakouts and it will prevent them from happening. And it's done in a very simplistic but fundamental way that is so fundamental that it is new, and it is a miracle on its own. Sometimes the most simple thing is the miracle. Acne comes from the Greek word akne. Actually, that's also the Norwegian word, meaning point. Technically known as retention hyperkeratosis. Starting somewhere before adolescence, mine didn't start till I was 15, and then it became a full-on pizza face. It was horrible. I do understand the trauma, the feeling socially unacceptable, actually feeling somewhat dirty that kids go through when they have acne. Mine was very, very bad, and it was very bad for me because from the time I was a little boy up until 12, 13, everybody said, "Oh, you're such a pretty little boy." That's all I ever heard was what a pretty boy I was. So I actually thought I was a pretty boy. And all of a sudden, I'm not a pretty boy. And there wasn't a picture I can find anywhere, a family photo, where I'm not sitting there or standing there with my head down like this. Every photo. And so I would go off to these venues or big homes or estates, and I would find the darkest room and the darkest corner, and I would sit there all night so nobody would see my horrible pustules. So the kids would tease me and call me, "Oh, here comes the death mask kid again," you know, because I'd never smile. It was horrible. You have no idea what I went through unless any of you yourself had this kind of acne. So I fully understand the trauma of kids, and there's been suicides committed because of acne. The start of acne starts up here at the hypothalamus gland, right here. Think of it as a radio antenna on your head, okay? And it receives all signals of stress, regardless of what type of stress. It could be subliminal stress, stress you don't know where it's coming from. It could be going from young man or young woman or kid into puberty. It could be the peaches and cream girl that had the most flawless skin in high school and you all hated her guts. And then when she had her first baby, boom, acne, hormonal change. It could be a woman who's gone through her whole life with flawless skin and then hits menopause, boom, onset adult acne, even on the breast and on the back. It could happen for many reasons, but all of it is related to a stressful condition which starts the hormonal cascade to malfunction. The hypothalamus gland picks up the telephone and rings the pituitary gland and says, "Hey, look, there's a lot of stress coming down the line here. Pituitary gland picks up the phone and calls the adrenal glands, the excitement glands, and it says, oh my God, stress is coming. And then the adrenal glands pick up their trunk line and they ring up the testosterone and repeat the message, and the testosterone goes, oh God, another message of stress, and calls up Mr. Sebaceous gland and says, you know what, you got to start pumping some more oil here. And of course, all you would have at that point would be excessively oily skin, except what about cuticle buildup? And what about kids whose cell proliferation is very quick turnover? So all of these cells start to encapsulate this little gland that's now puffed up with oil, and says, oh, there's something irregular going on here in the skin. We better isolate this problem, and they encapsulate it. New cell growth around that area. And it's like water behind a dam. It can't flow evenly out on the face anymore. It's backed up with dead cells. It starts to reservoir, and eventually it becomes a big bump. And then the kid looks in the mirror and says, oh my God, I've got a date Friday night. I can't have this honker. Squeeze. Now what happens? P. acne bacteria waltzes in the door, and now there's a party going on. And full-fledged acne starts to spread. We always know when we see teenagers with bad acne, especially when they're doing exams, especially when they're under perhaps sexual stress situations in a relationship or a romance, or when they feel totally unacceptable by their peer group, their cortisol levels are higher than a cat's back. A variety of medicines are available to fight the condition, but as the case with many dermatological afflictions, the underlying causes are not addressed with medication. And let's face it, you cannot take medication every day of your life. Remember, kids, the liver has to deal with every drug at some point. And all my doctors here know that. The fact that the new DMK Acne range does this in such a fundamental, simple way is in itself a drug-free miracle. That is the magic bullet, that in this simple, fundamental way, it does these marvelous things we're going to cover as a drug-free miracle. When this kid or patient or client of yours is starting to scar, because that's when you want to get the younger ones before they really scar badly. We can remove the scars, but it takes a long time. Cuneiform scars are really difficult. Hypertrophic scars are easier. The cuneiform scars are the ice pick scars, and you have to really not just remove, you have to rebuild to get the skin up to level. And so they're coming to you at last, and they're hoping, but they're suspicious. They really don't believe anything's going to happen, but they're hoping it will. And guess what? After their first enzyme treatment, even though their acne is not gone, they see a difference already. Trust me, their eyes fine-tune and look at every little centimeter of their skin. They see a difference. They feel a difference. And if you can get the inflammation and the erythema and the angriness, the empurpledness down, when they look in that mirror at home that night, suddenly they have hope. And with the hope, what happens? Hypothalamus gland is not signaling stress anymore, or as much. It's signaling positive. The hormonal cascade now starts to become into a period of homeostasis. That means equal, yin-yang. Intercellular fluids are starting to come into homeostasis. And they have this inside feeling that this is going to work at last. Now that gives you a 50% cure from the inside out. That's what I was talking about earlier. It is a physiological and psychological phenomenon that has to take place if you want success with your acne, people.
The time isn't right.
Well, people everywhere, that's it for this time. As we journey through the world pursuing what works, what doesn't, and what is the ultimate ripoff. We'll have celebrity guests, surprise visits to every country on the planet, and some incredible trips down memory lane that will make you think, enrich your own personal journey into looking as good as you possibly can and feeling as good as you can possibly feel. We are everywhere on the globe, and we're there to help you with practically anything.
I don't wanna see your face around here. The time isn't right for you.